here and talk to you about visibility and how to change your state around showing up and getting visible, and really what helped me back in the day, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, that really supported me to start creating momentum in my visibility and in my results. So this is off the back of a really beautiful conversation I've just had with one of the mentees. I'm a mentor for the Coaching Academy students. And this particular beautiful human came on and she was asking me about how to get clients. Basically, she's doing all the things. She's set up her business page. She's got her website up and running, and she's thinking about investing in paid ads and putting all this money into ads before she's properly kind of confidently showing up. So we talked about, what her goals are. And it took me right back in the day when I was affirming 5-figure months. Right? I wanted to achieve that sort of that milestone of a 10K month. So I'd got nowhere near that, and I was affirming I am a 5-figure month coach. But what I was doing at the time, every time I affirmed that for myself, I noticed that I would end up kind of spending the day feeling quite unresourceful, quite disempowered and overwhelmed, because I was constantly thinking, first of all, that's bullshit. I'm not a 5-figure coach. I'm not earning 10K a month. That was, the voice in the background that was bothering me. But also because I was affirming that from that state of not, and being very viscerally and consciously aware that I wasn't, it also made me feel overwhelmed. And I started to kind of get really scattered, trying to seek the strategy, the solution, the magic, bullet, if you will, the secret sauce, or whatever I needed in order to create that result, which just led to me feeling overwhelmed and frustrated when it wasn't working. So I can't remember how this came about or when I decided to do this, but there was one point where I decided to trial something and test it, and it worked for me. So the thing I did was I reverse engineered my affirmation process. I reverse engineered the goal. So for example, if my goal at the time was 5-figure month, I want a 5-figure month. And so I thought to myself, what would have to happen? What would have had to have happened in order for me to have achieved that 5-figure month, that 10K month? So what immediately preceded that was, well, I'd need to sign paying clients. So in order to sign paying clients, what would have to have happened? I would have needed to have discovery calls booked into my calendar. In order to get discovery calls booked into my calendar, what would have had to have happened? I would have to have been visible with content that resonates with my audience and adds value. So then it became, what would have to have happened in order for me to be creating content and being visible in a way that resonates with my audience? So dialing right back, what would have had to have happened is I would have to have been inspired, creative, showing up fearlessly every day, creating content that resonates with my audience. So when I dialed it right back, that was the state of being that I needed to show up in. So that state, that result, or that answer, if you like, informed what I then started to focus on. So instead of leapfrogging ahead and focusing on the end goal, which I know we're always told, aren't we? But it's, when you think, if you're struggling with that, you've got to dial it back to get to the original state. Like, who do you have to become in order for that result to become inevitable? So for me at that point, the person I needed to become was somebody who was confidently visible, showing up every single day, creatively inspired every single morning to create content that added value and inspired my audience. So in that way, I started to create those affirmations. And some of my early doors affirmations were things like, I show up fearlessly every single day. I love creating content that resonates with my ideal clients. My ideal clients are reaching out to me, asking to work with me on the back of my inspired content. One of the best ones was creativity flows through me and to me, and I always know what to say. Or creativity flows to me and through me, and I always know what to say. So as I was affirming those states, I started to embody and imbue those states. I started to act in that way, showing up more courageously, more confidently, getting more inspired downloads to create content. So it became very much I became the source of that content and inspiration. And the more I did it, the more the content flowed, the more the creativity flowed, the more confident I felt. So as a result, then the next thing happened. People started to reach out. The next thing happened. I started to get discovery calls, started to convert those discovery calls. I started to make money, and I started to hit my financial goals. So you can see how state is everything when it comes to your visibility every single day and what content you're creating. It's never about the next shiny strategy. It isn't. It's about how you feel as you're showing up. What is informing your everyday intentions, attention, and activity. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful. Have an amazing rest of your day. If you've got questions, always put them below. I love to hear from you, or just DM me, reach out. But yeah, that honestly was such a game changer for me. And it's one of the things I teach in the Bliss Activation Code, is like how to reverse engineer your goal to create the state of the version of you who is already doing it. Very, very powerful work. All right. Thank you for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will speak to you again later. Bye for now.